What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about this Subnautica 2 situation. I'm coming in a little late to it, but I find it to be insane. A lot of twists and turns, and it kind of a situation of like, who do you want to believe? I get it. Normally, you don't want to believe like the major corporation, but we have two sides saying kind of the exact opposite. So what I want to do, want to quickly recap where we're at, and then go over just my opinion on it, because you don't really see this, I feel like, every day. So I'm going to take a lot of this info and knowledge from Bloomberg. Jason Schreier broke this a couple days ago. So basically what was happening here, right, was Subnautica 2, I think originally was intended to release at least in early access later on this year, okay? Now it's been pushed. It's been pushed to 2026. That is official. It officially happened. And the leadership of Subnautica, this happened like a week ago. The leadership of the team has been completely gutted. And it sounds like it was gutted from Crafton, not from like they decided to walk away. So they came in, hire company, right, comes in and guts the leadership of this game, and they replaced them with the former, I think, CEO of Striking Distance Studios, not the original creator of Dead Space, but the new person who came in after he left. So, by the way, sounds like that studio is in massive, massive trouble. There's been reports that they've canceled their game. They actually might get shut down from rumors, so that's not ideal, but whatever. Okay, so they take that CEO, move him over, so they have completely new leadership, right? And they delay the game till 2026. So a big part of this is if the studio reached a certain revenue goal by the end of this year, they would be able to get $250 million of bonuses, okay? That's important to remember. Now, without the game coming out in early access, they ain't hitting that number, okay? They were expected to hit that number if Subnautica 2 came out in early access. So the leadership team is gutted. It's replaced by somebody else. The game is pushed, and these bonuses, they weren't going to happen. Now, the bonuses, and this is generally how it goes, so I don't even know why this is like being so controversially talked about from like Crafton. So the bonuses normally go to like the leadership team, and what the leadership team does is they take their own cut, and then they look around at their team and they allocate the resources. They say, okay, this person's going to get X percentage of this bonus, so on, depending maybe on how long the person has been there or what they contributed right to their game. Did they do a lot for Subnautica 1 that let them get this bonus in the first place, right? Did they do stuff for Subnautica 2 and how much, okay? So that's like a normal thing. Now, Crafton says like, well, 90% of that bonus was going to go to 3 executives. Well, it's like, yeah, that's generally how it works. It goes to the executives, they take their cut, and then they give it to their other people, right? The people below them. Now, Crafton is accusing the leadership team of basically slacking off. They said that they were like abandoning their job. They were working on films. They were working on other projects. They weren't like actually working on Subnautica 2, and Crafton didn't feel the game was ready to come out yet, right? They kept saying, well, we want to give people the best possible game, all this like kind of corporate talk. Well, last week when these executives were fired, they took to social media and they said they believe the game is ready right now to come out in early access. So that's really where we're at. We're at this company that could be sabotaging its own people because they don't want them to get bonuses. They don't want to hand out. And it's like, man, it's tough because it's like, again, like people probably don't want to believe the company. And I really don't want to believe the company either, right? But it's like, how often do you get the reverse feel of a game that's close to being done? And what I mean by that, right, is like normally you have the corporation saying, well, we can get this game out tomorrow, right? Like it can happen. And you normally have the people saying, no, it's unrealistic. You always hear those stories, right? When a game publisher says, okay, this game is going to launch in Q1 of next year. You'll sometimes see reports from people that work at that team that says, there's no way in hell we can get this game out in Q1, right? We don't know why they would even say that we could. It's normally completely reversed. This time, the corporation is saying that game is not ready to come out, and they are claiming that that's the reason why. They claim that they don't even know about the contract with those bonuses. Now, therein lies the issue, right? Because it's like, all right, well, what would make them feel the opposite? Again, why would it actually be switched? Well, it could be the corporation this time saying, we don't want to pay $250 million to these average Joes on the streets. They don't deserve money. By the way, because it's only a team of like 100 people, these people are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars for the bonus, or even $1 million+ for the bonus, depending on, again, like what you did and how long you've been there. Imagine that. Imagine working working at Subnautica, a team, and which is, I've never played it. I've heard amazing things about it. I've heard, we look at, I guess, what Subnautica 2 looks like. It looks awesome. It's a franchise, I guess, now because it's 2 games that I really want to get into. I'm just kind of saying, like, when you think about Subnautica, do you think about these people that are, going to get a $1 million bonus? And it's like, you know what? Good for that. That's awesome. I say it like that, but it's like, that's a super cool thing, and companies deserve that. You see, like, when Stellar Blade sells really well, even though it's not selling 10, 20 million units, it sold like 2 or 3. They bought everybody on that team, like a Switch 2. They bought everybody a PS5. It's like they're spending money left and right. Those people deserve it. It depends on how you manage your budgets, by the way. Most people can't do that, but it's a great thing. And it's like, okay, you're just an average Joe working on Subnautica 2. You're about to get like $1 million bonus, and then they screw you and they say, the game's not ready yet. It's coming out next year. And then you're left to decide, who do you want to believe? Do you want to, because I will say this though, okay, I will say this. The negative on the corporate side is everything we just talked about, right? Like, they might not want to pay it. So, of course, they're going to push for the delay, because if it delays, they don't have to pay out that bonus. I will say, though, from the people, because this is also uncommon, most times developers don't have a ton of confidence in, like, their final build of the game until it's, like, ready to freaking rock, right? So it is a little odd, these executives that left, right? Or actually were fired. I want to say it the right way, because it's a disservice not to. These executives were kicked to the curb, and they come out and say, no, the game's ready to come out like tomorrow. Is that actually true? Or is that also kind of milking the system? Because you think about it, okay, now you're a developer of Subnautica 2, not the corporation, now you're the people. You're working on Subnautica 2, and as you get close to Christmas, you're promised like $1 million+ bonus, freaking bonus, on top of your yearly, salary. Would you not want to rush the game out? Of course you would. I would put, okay, this is where like you almost sell your soul. If you're offered $1 million when you're working at your dream job making Subnautica 2, would you not try to rush the game? Can we be real, right? You want to put it out in a good condition, but of course there's always excuses. You can patch it. You can have 15 updates on the thing in the first month. You could do whatever you want. You just got $1 million, right? It's like, I honestly, and that's not necessarily okay. I mean, a lot of these things are jokes, but like, can you see it? Do you understand hopefully like where I'm coming from? It's tough, like where you want to believe, because it's like, I could absolutely believe average people, that's a 100-person team, of course they'd want to rush it. Of course they'd want to get out. If the corporation knows that if they hit a certain goal, they're due money this year, you bet your bottom dollar those people know it too. And of course they're going to want, if you were guaranteed that bonus, would you not try to rush the game out even if it's not ready? Of course you would. So now it's like, well, who do you want to believe? Is the game actually ready? Because Crafton says it's not. Or is the game ready to come out because the executives that were fired said it was? But you know what I mean? And also like those executives that were fired, was that sabotage by Crafton to say like, okay, if we destroy the leadership team, well, now there's no way you can get the game to come out this year, right? And it's like, but then they say that those people weren't even working on the game, they were like slacking off. So like, what's going on? Like, it's a messy, and like, I don't really know when the last time you hear about executives getting fired and kind of like sketchy stuff happening, but this is like really messed up. Really, maybe both ways, but specifically if it's Crafton's fault, it would be a really scummy way that they're handling it. And you know what? And I don't want them to be bad. Like, that's the thing. Like, I would like the situation to be amended because, like, they saved Hi-Fi Rush. To me, they're the saviors of Hi-Fi Rush, and they make some pretty cool games too. But like, you save Tango, you're cool with me at least for a little while. Now, if you do this, we're not as cool, but you're still giving us Hi-Fi Rush too. But I don't know. Like, they've come across the last couple of years as like the people's developer, right, or publisher. They've actually said that in the past, where it's like they're looking for unique experiences. They're trying to like do right by certain things. They're not always looking for like the hit live service game. And they kind of did put their money where their mouth is to buy Tango and to save them with Hi-Fi Rush 2. So it's like, I want to believe in the best for them, but this is really scummy, if that is the case, if it's their fault. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and hope to see you all on the next one.